gentlemen, welcome back to the MaxBet podcast, a podcast dedicated to gaming.
We're your hosts. I'm here with Landon Michael Jones, and I'm Mike McKiskey. Let's get started.
Let's roll. Welcome back to the podcast. I feel like we're getting in a flow now.
In a flow? What kind of flow?
Like a rhythm.
More cadence of actual episodes? Yeah, no,
it feels good. Like the first couple, I was a little bit like, I didn't know what to do with my hands, you know?
like it's been so long.
Are we live?
Yeah, that's right. And then you take notes, and you're like, oh, God, that makes, I get it.
And we're live.
But we're doing it now.
We're live.
We're live to tape right now.
We're live to tape.
But we did discover in the Light and Wonder studio that we can go live.
Oh, we can.
So the wizards that are off camera always,
they did
but they did discover that we could go live. So we're going to play around with that idea about sitting here and actually being live.
We should do that.
And they figured it all out. They figured out you can get commentary.
3 people watch. It's like, well,
our moms and our wives, that's 4. Well, you're not married, but you have a girlfriend that I think loves you enough to watch your show. So
she would watch.
She'd be like, probably okay.
Oddly, our biggest fan is my mom. She's watched every episode. So shout out to Julie.
Jules.
You're crushing it. Thanks.
That's
We're going to send you a virtual high five.
Jules from Nashville. We love you. What's going on in your world, brother? How are you this week?
I had an awesome weekend.
Doing what?
Bought a camper.
Okay.
Like a Winnebago.
Like an old school Winnebago.
No, it's cool. It's new school.
Okay.
And it has dual axle off-road tires.
Sounds important.
You know, I got the Jeep.
Yep.
And Friday comes and we got the camper loaded up.
Yep.
It's our first expedition out. We didn't end up making it out till about 5:30.
You left
actually,
late,
like
you mean?
6:30. Yeah, and we had a reservation at Sand Hollow, which is in southern Utah, about 2.5 hours away from here. And just, everything's falling off. Like, we gotta get things are just happening.
Your itinerary is busted.
Yeah, it's busted.
Yeah,
We got dogs, all these dogs
yeah.
need to take bathroom breaks. We don't end up pulling into campsite until like 10:30 at night.
Now, is that frowned upon in the camping world? Like, are you now disrupting everyone because it's late?
Probably, and I have my big ass Jeep lights on, just pissing everyone off.
It's like these
it was a primitive site, so...
What does that mean?
It means you've got to go... anywhere you find, you can
there's no like
pitch
hookups.
A tent, you're ready to
pick
go.
a spot and go. Got it.
So I got this massive... First of all, I'm trying to learn how to drive my Jeep with a 20-foot RV strap behind
Towing,
it. Also different. So we start getting off-road, and we're getting into primitive, looking for places. Pitch black, because this is in southern Utah. It's not Vegas. There's none of the ambient light around. Right. And my girlfriend's like, go down that road. It doesn't look like anyone's down. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's down that for a reason.
Yeah,
because it's a massive sand dune.
Yeah. Oh,
and she's like, oh, it's fine. This is a Jeep. You said it's 4-wheel drive. You got this.
She's mocking you, too.
Yeah, so I take the left, go, instantly stuck. I know I've got this, I got a Jeep truck that's pretty long. And then I got this 20-foot camper that's pretty long. Yeah. Now it's like 11. I got 3 dogs in the back, pissed off, hungry, want to pee. Meanwhile, she's like, why did you go down this road? I'm like, you told me to.
What I think about funny about is you started this story off saying, I had a pretty great weekend.
It was
and
a great
all you've
weekend.
told me so far is you've been late to the site and you got stuck in a hole. So when did it rebound? Like, give me the highlight that made it turn from this to
we
actually
got out, we got unstuck, found a spot. The next morning when we got up, daytime, found a better spot, parked the camper, got everything set up. But it was a fun weekend, man. We had a fun weekend camping, learned a lot about camping. Our grill didn't work. Our generator didn't work. Like, everything broke, but I think it was a learning experience. It was part of the journey. So
the adventure is the fun.
The adventure is the fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. Pretty sweet.
My weekend wasn't quite as eventful.
Yeah, you got to get into it.
But I am officially still the Ted Lasso of kids soccer. So I coach the 5-year-old boys team, and we've never lost. So I feel good. I have no idea how I'm good. I think we have 2 good kids, and then there are others level up around them. But
they all just see you and get scared. They're like, "That's your coach."
That's your coach. Yeah, he's like a modern day Viking. Yeah, so so that's exciting. Like, we're not supposed to keep score. Every parent keeps score. I even hear the other team going, "Okay, they got us by 2. What are we gonna do?" Like, they're all strategizing, and then now I'm weirdly proud of it. So I'm like, okay, big game coming up this weekend. I think we could play a team called the Tankers. We're like, oh, the Tankers are coming. We got to get ready.
Okay, so question.
Good answer.
What's your theory on everyone gets a trophy? This is new, because this wasn't when we were kids.
Yeah, don't like it, really. I do think there's messaging around. So, like, for example, on our team, like, we're fortunate because we win
Yeah.
We've won every game, but the messaging hasn't changed, right? So it's like there's a lot of time. And these kids are 5 years old, right? So like they're running down the field full effort, and they kick it. It goes nowhere near the goal, right? I mean, it's shanked.
Opposite direction. Yeah.
See ya. And so you just go, hey man, good effort. That's the right instinct. Like you're trying to be positive because you don't want to say like you are an idiot because you couldn't hit the goal. Because guess what? You see pros miss the goal. So the goal thing's hard, right? But it's like the key is like just work hard. Stay positive. You'll figure it out. Like your aim will get better. Your technique will get better. So that to me is important.
Yeah.
And so there's no score. So there's not really a champion, right? Like, but I got like last season, same thing. I think we lost once last year, but like I got them trophies. Like I got them like, hey, being on the team, commemorative things. So I don't mind that. But I think the idea, if you were actually keeping score and there's a real league, like everyone can, I'm not a fan of that. Like, because here's the thing I always say. Like my kids, well, it's hard, Dad. Yeah, life's hard. I know that you don't get it yet because you're 5, but like we have to start toughening you up slowly. Like I'm not going to throw them in an ice cold lake and say, suck it up, kid. But like you have to get them used to the fact that like you're going to get disappointed. And if all you're used to is getting your way, like your life's going to be really hard in about 15 years, right? So,
winning is the trophy, right?
That's right.
It's like that's
exactly
the hard work and
well, that's the thing the other day because like so again we're used to doing well, so it's funny to watch this at the kid level because you see all the emotions in raw. They haven't learned to hide anything, so we fall behind. It's 2-0. We've never really we always just come out and score first, and it's just away we go.
You stressed
so
at
now
this point?
Me no, but like I'm watching all the kids hang their heads and it's like they're good, and I'm like yeah, so are you though. Like they're good, you're good. Like when you beat them, you're gonna feel better. You think we can beat them? I know you can beat them. They scored twice. It's the first quarter. You'll be fine. Like, then we score. Now they're taller. Then we score again. Now we're taller. Then we score again. Now they're like, we're going to beat them. And I'm like, I know. You just got to stay with it, right? And so, but it's just funny. Like, I think those are the lessons, right? To me, it's like the trophy. If you give it for the wrong reason, it's probably just going to cement the wrong behavior. But it's like, look, you got to just keep trying because you could lose. Like you could. Like we go to work every day. Like we could screw up and not get to come to work, right? Like that's how it goes. So
why don't we have a slap the belief sticker here? Do you have one for the kids?
I have no.
Okay.
But I do have. We do say like I'm cheese ball coach, right? Because I'm like I don't really know soccer, and at 5 you're not going to execute skills anyway. So it's more like I say, guys, what's the #1 rule? Have fun. So they all shout every time. And you can see the other team going, what are they saying? Have fun. I'm like, yeah, that's all that matters.
I can just see you giving the big Al Pacino speech in front of like 10 5-year-olds. I'm like, who is this guy?
Listen, kids, I've made pretty much every mistake a middle-aged man can make. Okay. Like, it's just their kids like, what? Like, what are you talking about? That I know that
Stick
speech
to
by
you.
heart. Yeah, exactly. Just, yeah. Don't bet the ponies. No, it's it's fun. I don't know. I'm not a huge trophy for nothing guy, but I do like celebrating the right behavior. So
hell yeah. Well, who do we have today?
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah,
this is cool. So I'm excited for 2 reasons. So you have Bennie Mancino's coming on the show, right? And so from a professional perspective, that's pretty cool because he's table games guy. So director table games now Presque Isle. So back east, kind of I think of like that Pennsylvania, New Jersey part of the world as like the hub of tables, right? Really. So he's been operating in that area for quite some time, and he knows a lot, and he's like a fun facts guy. So like when you follow him on social, you get a lot of like table game fun facts or operator quizzes, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But then secondary to that, like he started I think vlog video. He has a YouTube channel, The B Man, and it's called Be in the Know. Letter B in the Know. It's cool content, right? And I laugh because like we started this podcast in COVID. And we're like, oh, it's COVID. Let's just do a thing, see what happens. Well, I don't know if he started in COVID as well, but it was like right around the same time. He might have been before. But I was like, oh, cool. Now there's 2 of us. And so like, and
he was our competitor.
Yeah, kind of.
Everyone gets trophies.
Yeah. the audience votes with their time, right? But it's like, it's funny because I never thought of it that way. Yeah. Like I never thought, I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it's a little bit different niche. Like he was focused purely into like kind of the table games vertical, and we were a little bit all over the place, but it's all good. And so I think, and he's brought his channel back, which is exciting. So it's exciting to not only interview a guy that's in the business, especially with us now, table games, but then also a content creator that kind of knows that.
And it's hard to do. Like this is not easy to stay consistent and constantly create content that's, listening worthy. And not saying that ours is 100% listening worthy.
Not everyone gets a Ryan and a Victor. Okay, that's a whole different program. So yeah, it's exhausting. I mean, and now like we're fortunate because we have help and Light and Wonders help and support us, but like. It's a beast, man. I mean, you remember the first day we would record, you would spend 20 hours editing a show and
that then was like push the intro
or whatever. Yeah. Because again, we were just trying to learn things we never done. So So yeah, hats off to him. There's a few other pods out there that have started to kind of do their thing, and it's like, yeah, I hope everyone listens. I hope it's entertaining and people do
the one thing this industry needs more of, right? It's just spreading information. And
yeah, because we can't cover everything, and B, you don't want us to cover it. Like, we shouldn't be the only two guys people listen to, because
nobody reads magazines anymore. Like, if you're trying to
well, when do you have the time?
Yeah,
right? Because, like, I mean, maybe I'm biased because I have a bunch of kids at the house, but I'm like, I don't have time to just sit and read a magazine.
Right.
I listen to stuff. Like, I'll do chores. Like, I'll be in the yard working or garage or something, and I'll podcast on.
Yeah,
for sure. But just sit and read seems
easier way to consume content.
So single task oriented. But anyway, let's get to it, man. Should we bring Benny
jump in the show. Come on in. Benny, welcome to the podcast.
The B-Man.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm excited. Great new studio you guys have here, and I'm excited.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, thank you. We were this, I think, is one of the first collaborations.
Yeah.
So we were chatting earlier saying, I don't know when you started your vlog, the Be in the Know. I became aware of it once we started this. So I think you might have had it even sooner. But it was like, you didn't see a lot of the B-Man coming on our show, vice versa. It wasn't necessarily competitive. It was just didn't happen. So I'm like, oh, perfect. We get to collaborate with another kind of gaming content creator. So appreciate you coming over.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I started a little bit after the pandemic started. I was on a few different panels that, they were going crazy during the pandemic. And then somebody says, well, why don't you do your own thing? You love table games content. You love to get it out there. And I said, okay.
You're making sense.
Exactly. Let me figure it out like I've done everything else in life.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
I'm always interested to see like what pushed you over the line to do it, because it's a lot. It's a big commitment. You got to get a microphone. You got to do all the things, and then you do your first show. And is it what you expected it to be? And
you know what? I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about audio. I didn't know nothing about editing.
Sure.
And it was just kind of learn as you go. But for an old guy, I'm fairly tech savvy, and I was able to piece it together pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. Just stay with it and learn. And neither did we. So we're the same. It's like,
we're still learning.
You know what it was for us? So there's so many people, and I'm sure you've heard this as well, going like, oh, I thought about doing a video channel, or I thought about doing a podcast. And they go, I just never did it. And honestly, I think we would be those guys if the world didn't shut down. Because I remember talking to you one day, and we're going like, oh, we were kicking this podcasting around, and then it was like literally nothing to do. Like, the world stopped.
Yeah.
I call him, I go, so now what's our excuse? Right? I was like, I guess we don't have one. So let's get, we ordered some cheap mics at the time, and off we go. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I didn't know, should I be very professional and staunch? And I took the, when I turned into the B-Man.
Yeah, right.
I'm a totally different animal. I kind of relate myself to Garth. Garth says when I'm Garth Brooks, I'm me, who you see now. But when I get on the stage, I'm GB, and that's kind of the way I am with B-Man.
GB is hammering. That's it. That's funny. Yeah. So table games content obviously makes sense because you're a table games guy. So you're currently serving director of table game Presque Isle. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
But what I am interested in, so we can get into all elements of table games, but what's pretty cool to me, I follow you on LinkedIn, watch the videos. You seem to do a lot of like fun facts, right? Or you do a lot of these quizzes where you go, so what do you think the number one problem is going to be here? And it's always interesting that no one seems to get it right. So I guess just starting off, like I know a lot of new table games folks come to you and say, well, Benny, like teach me the business, teach me what I don't know. What's like the first thing that people always assume and maybe get wrong? Like what are some of the obvious missteps new folks make? And then you go, huh.
Well, the obvious conclusion is games always win.
Yeah, right.
No matter what, they win. And we saturated the industry so quickly in the last 2 decades that people just didn't have a chance to learn. When I started out, I had all sorts of mentors, and they kind of mentored you in a kind of a hostile way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you either learned quick or you really got browbeat to death.
Right.
So you can't do that nowadays. But I really, they were very good to me, although it was tough love.
Tough love, yeah.
But I'm just trying to share that, and I think if you've got a talent and you don't pay it forward, what else are you going to leave when you leave this earth, So give it a shot. Try to make other people successful.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think that's true. The legacy is the story that you leave behind, I think, a little bit. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it used to be an honor to be a table games dealer, right? And then you worked your way, graduated as a craps dealer, and then you were the man. You were the man.
Is that right? Craps was like king of the jungle.
Yeah, it was a very,
queen of the jungle.
It was a very glamorous job back all the way from the early 40s all the way through like the 80s, and then it lost its glamour. But when you were sitting there dealing, you would look at the next guy and he'd make a move, and you'd like, oh my God. I got to learn that. I got to learn that. Now,
stick flip.
Now dealers are kind of, let me hit the clock, and here I want to sign EOS as soon as I get that. That's the main objective.
Get out of here early.
Now it's just hard to find dealers.
It is.
Well, that's the other thing.
Hard to get employees.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. Like, is that still true in your part of the world? Because I always say like that, call it New England if you want, but like that Pennsylvania, New Jersey, North corridor is like table games capital. Are you still having a hard time finding dealers?
You find them, but so you hire 5, and that week you lose 5. So it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And then skill level really becomes a struggle. Right. Because like we were talking about, being a crab dealer is a really a skilled profession, and it takes a while to learn. You just don't become a great crab dealer overnight.
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
Well, there's so much technology now, right? Like we talk about this all the time. Technology on the slot side, it's kind of made its way into the table game side with progressive shufflers. Where do you see us going on the table game side to continue the evolution of the table games business?
Well, there's definitely going to be a mixture of ETG, dealer assist games, and live games. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be brought on because of staffing, for one thing. Yep. And then it's going to be brought on just from people getting so used to playing online. Yeah. There's 6 jurisdictions now in the United States that offer online gaming. There's 33 that offer sports. So, sports... online gaming can be very far behind, and when it just becomes normal to go and play with a machine, it's gonna translate when people go out for social activity to the ETGs, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know if this is the thing you're supposed to say, but it does feel like outside looking in, because I'm not involved in the iGaming like legislation or any of that process, but it feels like that sports is kind of the Trojan horse almost, where you're saying, well, let's get in with sports. Everybody's comfortable with it. Because guess what? We're betting on hockey whether we do it formally or not. We're just doing it with each other. So now it's not scary. But then you go, okay, well, now we regulated it. We have this infrastructure. We feel good. Let's put some slots and tables on there. Seems like the idea.
Yeah, and now the big talk and the chatter is virtual casinos. Yep. Where you actually now not only are you iGaming, but you have this virtual environment. You hear the music, you see the people walk by and such. And one thing that kind of frightens me, being a land-based real guy, is that what we've been talking about, the dealer of old is gone, right? Yep. So that customer service, go get them. I don't like my skill. So now you got a player that goes online. He selects what kind of dealer he wants. Oh, I want a brunette, about 5'7", who loves to talk sports while she deals to me. So you got the perfect environment.
But who is this lady? Is it like a real lady? Is this like an AI bot that just is programmed? Yes, really? Interesting.
And so you can have your gaming experience with somebody who's not going to aggravate you.
How great is that? That by itself is creeping me out. Because at least when you get to a dealer, you go, I don't know, maybe it's a 5'7" brunette. But she's a real person. Not now going, it's just some bot underneath that could look like you for somebody, and then looks like me for the next table, and then looks like some, a woman, or whatever. It's like, that's a little weird.
And if you want her to insult you, you just hit the insult button and insult.
I want an aggressive 5'7" dealer, right? That's a whole different
I'm curious, I was like, the virtual casino, will it be branded like a Yamava, right? Like you go Presque, into the Yamava virtual casino, and my friends can meet me there, and we're all hanging out at a table or playing a slot or what have you.
And your friends sitting in a chair, you see it. You see their face. They come up as an AI.
So is that you're talking about it like you're seeing mocks of this? Like, is this happening now, or is this just future? Because you always talk about this is going to happen, but you sound crazy when you talk about it. You're like an alien lover, and it's like, I don't know, Lan, that sounds far fetched. But Benny, when you say it, I feel like somebody's pulled you in and said, Benny, look what we're building.
Well, I've seen so many things over this 30-some years. Yeah. Everybody told me, well, coins are never going to get replaced. People love to hear the sound of that ting, ting, ting. Right. They're gone. Right. Video reels couldn't make it in the 90s, but now come in the iPhone where everybody's playing online, and now video reels dominate the landscape.
That's right. Yeah.
And so everybody said, resort fees will never work. Well, guess what? Everybody's accustomed to them. Yeah. So I can see this, and like I said, with the in jurisdictions where iGaming is really dominant, it's really put a hurting on the land-based casinos. So virtual's probably right around the corner.
Yeah, interesting.
This isn't the first time we talked about it.
I get it.
And
it's
I
the first time I'm
little...
ready to believe it, though, I think is more the key.
All I'm hearing is maybe you should start believing me more.
The B-Man is more, to me, a little more credible, but we'll see. Yeah, so it's coming. Yeah, the goggles on. I guess we'll see. But.
Goggles on.
But that would be interesting because I think, like, to your point, so for whatever reason, my mind goes to job security for guys like you. Part of me is thinking, you still need to be there, though, right? Because somebody has to tell the robot what the game setting should be or what the stick calls are or, right? So there's got to still be some level of oversight and strategy because you can't just go, well, do what you want, robot. I mean, you could. I guess we'll see what kind of scary places those go. But I do think that'll be interesting. I mean, that would be wild. I mean, I guess you'd have to eventually figure out how to strategize table, game layouts and.
Well, I don't think it'll be any different than your current blackjack automated game.
Yeah, right.
Where the girls, doing that kind of stuff. But at least I think she'll be a little bit more interactive.
Sure.
And I can, like I said, I can see it happening very rapidly.
This is why I think it's important to incorporate like live dealer into the virtual space. So as we talk about iTable and the electronic table games, right? I have a vision of the future where you see an entire pit of live like iTable style product, and you see a dealer dealing, but you don't see anyone sitting there. So it's 2 a.m, yet that table's full. Yeah, it's full with people just sitting at their house with their VR goggles on with their friends, all hanging out with whoever the dealer is.
Well, they're doing that now. Right. I mean, you look at Evolution, you look at our platform with Authentic, and that's existing. There's not necessarily an iTable, but it's a dealt game with virtual players. The difference here is that somebody would have goggles on and feel like they're sitting there versus watching it on TV.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. You don't have somebody giving you a virtual high five, on iGaming, but I can see that happening, right?
Well, me too, because remember with Rippey, with Dr. Rippey, where you interviewed him, he had so Dr. at UNLV, he had a whole like suit that they would wear, and it's like a haptic suit, and it would make you feel. And I think there was an example where they got checked in hockey or something, and the guy like flew 6 feet, but like that exists. So you combine all these things, and now I'm high-fiving Benny from halfway across the country and hopefully winning some table games. And
you look ridiculous at your house in a haptic suit with your Google goggles
Buddy,
on.
I look ridiculous at my house anyway. Okay?
Well,
if it's not this.
You probably can make your own virtual persona. I mean,
I would imagine.
I mean, I could be thin again, and I could be 20 years old.
21's legal to gamble, Benny. But yeah, otherwise, no, I get it. But so it's like, but that would be the interesting part too, right? Because then you say, okay, so we verified the B-Man is old enough to gamble. He lives in the state. We've put all the protections in that we have. But now he wants to be a 6'2" black woman. Like, let it happen, right? Like
Benny would look good as a 6'2".
All good, right? All good. But he could do that. So I guess what you're saying is you would remove like the avatar would not be relevant to the the actual verified. Because to your point, if you wanted to be 20 on the game, well, that could be problematic only because it's 21 to gamble, right? So like you got to tie it together somehow, but. It'd be interesting to see somebody's going to regulate all that. Yeah. I'm glad it's not me because I'd probably mess it up.
So we're fantasizing right now what the future could be like.
Let's see. Yeah, let's talk about it.
You've been in the business a long time. You're obviously well known in this space.
Hold on, before you get into that, long time Lifetime Achievement Award winner today. At the conference I spoke at, Benny won a Lifetime Achievement Award for being table games.
We need an applause button. Yeah, I think we have it. I just
somewhere. Don't start pushing buttons. Yeah, so it's but yeah, so that's pretty cool. So congrats on that. So he's been a long time, and he's qualified to answer this question. So continue.
Yeah, my question is what excites you about technology today? Things that are actual tangible
more
today.
Practically coming, not so much the virtual futures.
Oh, I like the ETG product now is very exciting.
Yeah.
I think and the hybrid is now moving into craps.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's very exciting. I see a lot of technologies in the background that they're going to probably streamline the way a pit looks.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the next generation. Like I said, it's going to be a mixture of ETG mixed with a live product, and it's going to fit and it's going to look good. Yeah. It's going to look natural, and I think everybody's basically in the background working on that.
Who should be in charge of that? So if I'm running a casino, I've got my table games director, my slot director. Now we're in a very gray area here.
Grenades about to be launched here, buddy.
Let's launch them.
Well, if there's a gaming instrument used by the player, it definitely should be a table games If the gaming instrument is like the craps, dice, or cards are not being touched by the player, I would say anybody could, run a slots.
Sure.
They do now, right?
Yeah, right.
Automated table games are in the slot house.
Yeah. So I'm interested. So when you 30-year history, kind of watch this whole business grow up, really, I think this challenge we have, and it's not just us, right? Maybe for us, more of a responsibility is to try to innovate in such a way that you don't disregard the past, right? Because there's a magic to why tables are still there, because they say, well, slots make so much more money, right? But tables are its own kind of magic. So if you just innovate everything to be a slot, you're going to lose some of that magic, right? So I guess what advice would you have maybe to just guys like us that are trying to innovate to the future and say, well, we want to embrace technology, but we don't want to just run so far away from what makes table games special? Like, how do you walk that line? Or if you're us, how we're trying to walk the line, what do you think we should be looking at?
Well, I think there's always going to be a human element to it, and you've got to try to make the technology interact easily with the human, right?
Yep.
I think, side bets is a real good example. People love these side bets. They'd bet 40 if you had it, but right now a dealer can't calculate 40, and if they could, the game would move at such a pace, even though we have a 155,000 house advantage, we'd make no money because we only deal one hand an hour. So I think something like, you guys came up with something with 88 fortunes, and something like that, to where them side bets are off to the side. Guys just going nuts on this, but the dealer's just dealing a standard game.
Sure.
I think an integration of something like that's what we're going to see.
You know, it's funny. Who else were we talking? Somebody else said a similar comment. They said sometimes people only play the side bets. And maybe they're not allowed to in certain tables because it's like, well, you got to play the base game to play the side bet. But there's actually a host of players that would rather just play the side bets.
Yeah.
Rather just play Lucky Ladies or whatever the pair, King's Bounty, and just say, okay, but we don't let them do that. So maybe there's to your point, there's like a back betting station
where you can only bet side bets on a
because
on a player
weirdly,
playing the
I mean, especially on like a blackjack, you'd rather me just play the side bet.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if I'm betting up, right? I feel like that's a winning proposition
For the casino.
That's what I mean.
If you're listening to this and you're a player, have fun.
Yeah, you could have a board where you maybe make the table a little bit bigger, right? You got a board for the player who's seated, and then have one to the side. Somebody wants to come up, make one quick side bet, and get out. It doesn't affect nobody else's play, and you move on with life. I see. I'm a big proponent of aggregated minimums.
Okay, what does that mean? Because I'm not.
So an aggregate minimum, if you're playing a $25 game, if you want to bet $5 on the main bet, and 20 on the side bet,
I get you.
Got it.
God bless you. You know, I mean, we'll
take it.
But a lot of jurisdictions are, I guess, trying to be respectful of the players at disadvantage and are trying to help them out. But you know what? If a guy likes to bet that way, who cares? We don't stop him from betting 600 units on a penny game, do we?
So we don't. Yeah, what's a good point actually? And I guess
good point. It's like roulette. So you got to spread out 10 on the numbers, but if you just want to play black or red,
roulette's been aggregate for since it started.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Right? Yeah, because when you said $10 roulette table, it's not $10 per circle. It's just 10 total dollars.
Correct.
Right? And so. Yeah, and is that just a symptom? So when you said it, you said, well, maybe they're trying to protect the player's interest because they know the house odds on those two things. My initial thought was, well, that's weird, and we didn't write controls for it. Yeah. So, is it more of which is it? Is it more that we just need to adopt an open mindset, or is it more that well, actually we're looking out for our guys, or maybe it's just both, or?
Well, a lot of. So now you got two different mindsets. To begin with, once you cross the Mississippi River, especially. You got the Atlantic City regs where they were the most stringent and everything was wrong, right?
Yep.
I remember when I was young and I took a trip to Atlantic City, every game you dealt, you had to have a badge for each. I mean, these people were
like a badge of honor saying I'm qualified to deal.
It was all the way.
You don't have enough flair to work here.
Right. These things were 2 foot long. You got girls on there dealing dice, and this thing's flapping like a nose on an elephant. And finally, they got over that and said, "Oh, hey, you only need one badge." But that's the kind of things that came out of those regulations. And well, Atlantic City's definitely moved away from that mentality, but the states that came after Atlantic City who you say, hey, it's too much to make our own regs. We'll just, adopt these Atlantic City regs. are still following a lot of that stuff, and it's really crazy. And for age jurisdictions, it's just too much.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen that. Like,
That's all I can think about right now is just
like the general dealer with
how
all their
competitive I'd be with like my long chain
flair.
of dealer, the games that Mike, you don't even like buy gal. I don't care. I got to learn. I need another badge on my ticket.
Yeah, I think a few people, spun the big six wheel and knocked themselves out. They're there with no towel.
How'd you lose your teeth? Well, my badge hit the thing. It's a long story, okay? But I'm the best here. Okay, just be known. Yeah, that is interesting. So when you're talking to a new table games person and you say, okay, so yes, the games aren't always going to win. You have to really be strategic. What are some of the other first things they maybe don't always know, or they think they get it wrong on first blush because it's not as intuitive to a newbie as it would be to a veteran?
Well, if I'm addressing like newbie directors.
Yeah.
And stuff
That's in my mind. Yeah,
like that. They'll automatically think the game settings are right in their system, and then they'll go and check them. And now, and it's a true story. One of the places I took over, I went to check the game settings, and Ultimate Texas Hold'em was set at 5.26. Well, we all know that's the house advantage on roulette.
Yeah, right.
So somebody on the one game was getting some really good reinvestment.
Yeah.
And
so when you're talking about game settings, you're talking about how much we give back to the player, right? Based on what the house edge should be.
Right. So when you got game settings, you put in the decisions per hour,
Sure.
The house advantage, and if that's wrong,
you tipping the scales. Yeah.
Either way. So let's just say you put it at 0.25 for Ultimate Texas Hold'em. Now you're shortchanging the player on reinvestment. And pretty soon he goes to the next place because he went to buy a hot dog and the guy asked him for a $5 bill and he said, "Whoa, I played for 8 hours." What happened?
Hot dogs are expensive out here in Philly area.
They are.
So outside of like labor, what is
Okay.
the most challenging part of being a table games director?
Ooh, outside of labor. Well, like we talked, people just don't have the desire to be a table games dealer. It's just a factory job.
Right.
We, like I said, there was so much love for it before, and you had so much pride.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have pride, somebody would be
Right there.
teaching you how to get pride pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, and it's just not there, and that really hurts a lot.
Sure.
And I do everything I can. I'm very big on training.
Okay.
And I train, and try to keep people up to speed. And I found that's the only way, and it's got to be consistent. You can't do it 1 year and then not do it 2 years later. It just don't work, and that's the only depressing thing. Everything else about the business, I still love the players, even good or bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't get some entertainment value out of being a table games director,
Yeah.
you got a problem, mister.
There's a couple table games director listening right now. Like,
They're all laughing in the car going, yes, we've seen whatever chaos. But what comes to mind for you story-wise when you say that out loud? Because I got to believe there's a few incidents where you're going, man, I watched this go down, and it was insane.
So I'm at the Hard Rock Las Vegas.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I spent 12 and a half years of the best 12 and a half years of my life at the Hard Rock Las Vegas.
I can imagine. That was the
I'm
time
impressed
it
you
was like the
survived that long.
coolest
That was
hotel in
that
Vegas.
was a rocking facility.
I will write a book at some point in time about
Yes.
my
Yes.
experiences, but I'll give you one thing I remember really well. So we had this player, John, had a big gambler,
Okay.
big gambler.
Yeah.
And we at that point in time we had a party pit called Hell's Bells.
Okay.
And he was being dealt to by a very beautiful girl named Carla. And Carla takes him for this $125,000 like it was nothing. Poof, gone. And John calls me over, and he says, "Hey, I want to go get some more money." He said, "I want to go back to Bellagio and get another 100,000 more, but I want her to go with me." I said, "Well, John," I said, "that's not going to happen."
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing, and
That's a
we're just
very
not
weird
putting
thing.
Carla in that scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he says, I said, "Okay, you go." I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute." So I called my boss and I
Yeah.
said, "Listen, this character wants me to go with him to."
It's me or Carla.
And he says, "Do you have somebody?" And I know why he chose me, But anyway, well, anyway, my boss said, "Yeah, if you got somebody to cover, go ahead and go." So take the badge off. We go to Bellagio, and here we go. We go up into Bellagio to one of them beautiful suites that overlooks the. And I mean, this looks like something out of The Hangover.
Yeah, right. It's beautiful.
And it's kind of Hangover meets Indecent Proposal.
Okay.
And I go in there.
This is gonna be great.
And the bar's there. He says, "Hey, you want a drink?" And I'm from the Hard Rock, so it's okay.
Cocktail, big
sure,
deal.
Man, let it rip. So we had a couple glasses of champagne, and he opens the bedroom door, and this duffel bag with bills just spewing out of it. Right?
No way.
Yeah, and he starts stuffing. He stuffs 100.
Now it's like Fear and Loathing.
Right. 1,000. And he says, "Hey, you want any munchies? We got some munchies here." So we took that bar had everything.
Yeah.
So we get the money. We head down the elevator, and he says, "Well, wait a minute." He says, "I just want to go over and make a little lay down. Maybe I can take 125."
Oh, so he goes to make a bet at the Bellagio.
So we go over to the Bellagio, we go to the roulette table, and bada bing, he wins like $45,000 in 5 minutes.
Yeah, quick, sure.
Right? And then we head back, right? And he wants to stop at the Walgreens or whatever is on the corner. And so this guy's going into Walgreens with $145,000
strapped to his body. Yeah, exactly.
$45,000 sticking it, right? And he comes out with a bag of bugles. And he's chomping on the freaking bugle.
I wonder what Carla would have said.
Of course, she may come back. We'll see.
So now we get back to the Hard Rock, He had 3 black checks. He throws it to the driver, and we go in, and he starts playing, and of course, Carla took him for the $145,000 and like
the second time,
and no time. It was no time. And so, John, I said, "John, you need anything else or anything?" He says, "No, I'm good, man." And I'm looking, about an hour goes by, and I'm looking around for where he's at, and I see him up at the center bar. He's betting 25-cent video poker.
No way.
Just trying to get a roll to come back.
Just getting some momentum. Yeah, jeez.
And that's the last I seen of him. But that's that's the kind of stories.
Wild. Yeah, I can. Well, so I knew it was going to be good when I started the Hard Rock because I did security there during college, and it was like anything you want to see that's crazy starts there, or used to anyway. What a legend.
Was it a family size of beagles?
It was the big bugles.
Yeah, I think it was the family size. Yeah, it was.
This guy, not a care in the world, just lost $125,000, but basically 150 strapped to his chest. He's like, what, driver, I need some bugles. Cannot continue to play without my snack food.
Yeah, you had to have it.
I think I would be so nervous, even big guy. I'd be so nervous with $150,000 strapped to me that someone's going to just kill me. And I know it's not that dangerous. I mean, but like that's just a lot of money.
Well, the Walgreens is still right there on the corner of Paradise, and there's all these shady characters. This is 2:30 in the morning. This isn't.
Yes, even worse. That's why I wanted somebody to come with. What was Carla going to do in this scenario? Let me just tell you, Carla. I don't know, Carla. Something tells me she's not fighting off the
From the story, it
vandals.
sounds like she's a savage. So Carla might take care and stab someone with a bugle, and we're done.
It's like, you think this is all? I got all of his money inside. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's a wild story.
That was a wild story. You had another story that you said you were. Is this the story that you?
That was the story.
That was a good one. Yeah, we were talking
fantastic.
earlier. How good is that, man?
I can tell you one more quick.
I wanted more stories.
Don't have to be quick. We could do this all day. Yeah, this is it.
So Peter Morton was a visionary. I mean, this guy said, "Hey, I want my dealers to high five," and this event. Well, you can't do that. Well, he said, "I own this place. Yeah. I can do what I want, right?" And we want colored layouts. Well, we can't see it. It's my place. I want colored layouts. Sure. And afterwards, everybody continued to copy because they couldn't quite figure out the magic of the Hard Rock. But Peter knew nothing about gaming at all, right? So Peter was a customer service restaurant man, So one night, a guy's just pounding me on the double deck for about $250,000. And we had these little matchbook holders on the Hard Rock where, you had these beautiful Hard Rock Hotel matchbooks in them, right? Yeah. And the thing was from Peter, these things had to be full at all time. Guy takes one, you replace one. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Right? So now this guy's hammers for 250. The floorman's there doing his job. I mean, he's watching every turn of every card. And there's 2 matchbooks missing. And here walks up Peter Morton. And I see him look over, and I don't know what card he's looking at. And then he goes to the, walks off, and all of a sudden the beeper goes back. Then we have beep, beep, and it's 911. Well, 911 only meant one thing. Peter Morton wanted to talk to you. And he says, Benny. And I said, yes, Peter. He says, you got a floorman over there in the pit who has 2 missing matchbooks. And I said, could you tell me exactly the location of that game, Peter? And he said, oh, it's right there in the middle across from the center. I knew exactly what he's talking about. It's the game where this guy's, rattling us for $250K. And he says, I would like this guy dismissed. So it took me 3 days to save this guy's job and explain to him that he was doing the right thing.
By the way, you were good, but the matchbook, just one eye on the matchbook's back. Wow, how nuts is that? So he just didn't know, Peter didn't have any sense that this guy was into you for $250,000 and he needed to be more focused on that.
No idea. Peter was so cool, though. It was a great time.
That's
that
awesome.
is insane. Yeah, I'm gonna ask a stupid question. Is that the same Morton as Morton Steakhouse, or is that just a totally different Morton?
So, the way I understand, and I might have the story wrong. So if anybody out there wants to lay in the comments, yeah,
it's our comments. It's fine.
That was total bullshit, dude. His dad was the owner of Morton Steakhouse. Peter was your typical 1970s hippie.
Got it.
And he told him and his buddy to beat it, go to London, here's some money, open up a damn hamburger joint and get the hell out,
Yeah.
And so they go over there and they open this hamburger joint that happens to turn into the Hard Rock Cafes.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, one day,
go figure.
Pete Townsend or something, or Eric Clapton walked in and said, hey, I want to keep the spot. When I come in for lunch, I want this spot right here. And how are we going to know it's yours? And he says, just a minute. Brings in a guitar, and they set the guitar over top of the spot where Townsend.
What an awesome origin story!
And it wasn't even called the Hard Rock. That's how it started.
It's funny the rise and fall of casinos. Like the Hard Rock when we were in college,
Vegas, Vegas Hard Rock.
2004, it was numero uno. It was the cool place to be. Great vibe.
It was magic.
It was magic for sure.
It was magic. I mean, the employees loved the management loved the employees loved the guests loved the.
Yeah.
It was just, I can't explain it. I've never seen it recreated, and I know people. We had so many people shop us and try to figure out what the secret sauce was.
Yeah.
I just think all the moons come together at one time, and it was just great.
I would think Cosmo to me would be the new kind of cool vibe.
Yeah, but I think people change too, right? Like if you think about so again, I wasn't ever the big pool party guy going, but I would work the security, right? So we would always be the big guys would walk around rehab, and you just kind of watch all the madness and what people were into and kind of the weirdness. And then now you go to the Cosmo pool, and you'd argue probably a much nicer venue.
Yeah.
But people aren't into the same stuff, right? So I think the behavior's changed too. Now it's all, we used to be bucket of beers, we're having fun, flirting with everybody, but you weren't going to just drink Dom by the pool. And now it's you're nobody if you're not drinking some big Dom.
They started those pool parties, man. And then everybody needed a pool party.
I get it. That's what I'm saying.
What are we missing right now is my point. Think about that.
Yeah.
We've got, a pink box by my house? And there's a line out the door always. These little muffin
Connect
and
fancy
ice cream
donuts to this, please.
Well, I'm saying it's such a simple concept. Let's have a big pool party.
Yeah.
Works. Let's make it just a straight donut shop, right? It works.
But a big pool and a DJ, a party does not make, my friend. You have to have the vibe.
Yeah.
There's a different element, right?
And
fair enough.
It's kind of changed now too, because there's day clubs that are free.
Yeah.
I remember now the rehab. Some of the tips that were handed off to,
I would get to, so I would laugh. There was guys that are older than me to teach me the hustle. But as the big, one of the bigger guys, you'd always get roaming.
Yeah.
So there are guys your side, you stand by the door. The big guy, you got to go walk through the crowd. So what we would do is go to the cabana guys and just go, who's in the customers. Guys, we're here. If you need anything, just flag us. We'll kick people out. We'll do it. And so they would go, okay, get these guys out of here. We'll kick them out. And then we'd circle back and go a couple $100. I mean, there were days you make thousands of dollars. Just as the fat, lazy security
guy. Walking up to the bathroom, right? You always feel obligated
you're just pushing them. Yeah. And so you're going,
makes people...
and I'm not the good-looking lady in the bottle. So what she's making is probably nuts, right? And so you're just going, this is great. But it was unbelievable.
Yeah. So I'll give you one last Hard Rock story.
Yeah.
all the line cutting and the handing off to get in the front of the line.
That's
Because that line was all the way out on Paradise.
Yes,
you know,
that's right.
It was crazy. I said, well, you know, I got to get table games involved in this, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, nobody plays the big 6-wheel, right? So I replaced the 40-to-1s with, if you bet a $5 bet on it and you hit the 40-to-1, you get a line pass for rehab. You're talking about, I had almost a big enough line.
No way. That's brilliant.
They can all just line it up saying, what's it? Well, because again, like, so some of the guys would work, like they would work the lines, like air conditioning, and they'd wander back. They'd always find their way into a couple extra wristbands. They'd find their way to the back of the line and go, hey, you don't want to wait in line? It's $200 a wristband. It was like $20 to get in. But if you didn't want to wait for 3 hours, you was going to get going, you pay the money. Get in there. Like it was crazy. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that culture anymore, so I don't know if that still exists, but it just feels different. Maybe I'm just old, but
yeah,
it feels different than
I think it's a little different. Like I said, you got free day clubs. I think like the Sahara, I was staring there this weekend. I think one of their day clubs is free.
Well, we should pile in there, I guess, see what we can recreate. But something, I don't know. Why? I don't know why I'm sitting here going, free doesn't sound appealing to me. If I don't have to pay, what am I doing? Like it should. I should be like lining up to go because I don't have to pay anything. But now I'm realizing I might just be a little bougie, or I'm just a victim of advertising and marketing.
Well, it's like going to a restaurant with no cars parked in and
yeah, exactly.
You know, you're like, oh, this can't be good.
Yeah. This is no one's eating that hamburger. Well,
those were way different days. It's just changed
I get it, dude.
so much.
But I just don't. So that's what I struggle with. Like, am I just different because I'm like a father of children now, and it's like a whole different life than I have a real job versus some security guy job. But like, yeah, it's maybe. Anyway, but Vegas lives on. It's good. It'll keep going. It won't be called Hard Rock. Well, Hard Rock's coming back. Not the same deal. The Seminole now. Hard Rock's coming in, so it'll be interesting to see.
Virgin looks so different. I bet it was hard for you to walk through the property. And
Virgin is. I mean, they done a very good job with the property, but it's like the Hard Rock Las Vegas never existed. You know,
it's wild.
It's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Where
was the center bar even located? I was trying to figure that out. Couldn't figure it out.
Like, where was Pink Taco? I know it was down the hall. Yeah, no, it's wild.
And you probably know this, but the center bar was magical too because it had these acoustics. Like you're over here on this side of the bar, you could hear whoever's conversation on the other side as clear as a bell.
Yeah.
As clear as a bell. It was really weird.
Good and bad news, depending on what scheme you're running there. But yeah, no, it was that was a good time.
Here's an interesting question you might know the answer to. I just recently took a trip to Washington. I won't mention the customer's name, but they put in a big sports book and they moved their table games pit over by the sports book. It said it increased their table play by like 25% because a lot of the customers were the same type of customer that wanted to play blackjack and watch their favorite sports team play. Have you seen a trend like that?
Well, I sports does well, sometimes with party pits. Used to in the past. Yeah. But I think it's more of a probably traffic situation where there's a lot of traffic going to that sports book, and it's just like anything. The first thing they come to is where they sit down and play. So I think they're probably making trips into the sports book. And hey, there's a table game right here. Let me sit down.
Interesting.
Makes sense. I do think there's some element of the crossover like behavior because again, like I like playing table games. I was always a table games player before I got into this side of it. And then, but I like sports. So I don't always bet sports because I didn't actually just recently learned more about like the betting, but I would want to watch. So it's not a far stretch for me to believe that the sports fan or the people that are betting on sports are also table games because it feels a little riskier. Yeah. Because a lot of times you might walk out like this. I'm not saying the 145,000 strapped to his chest guy, but he goes, let me do a quick hit. I might win a quick 25 grand. I've never said that in my life, right? This guy's going, quick, but I bet that guy's probably going, hey, that same 50 grand, put it on, whoever, Gonzaga to win the tournament or something, right?
Well, it's a known fact that, like if you don't have TVs in the pit, you're cutting your own throat because you're going to lose time on device. Yeah. But, there's I don't see no table games gathered around the top row of Circa, so I don't know. You would think think if it was that big of a draw that it would work. And I don't see it.
Yeah, but Circa's not fair because that's the biggest sports book in the history. So everything is next to the sports book there.
It's still hard to see over that wall from the table games pit. So.
Oh yeah, I see. Well, yeah.
I guess we were just talking about vibes, so I'm trying to figure out what could be the next table game vibe. We had
if you could hang out over the balcony looking down, then I think
like a craps table right there. People are watching. Whatever.
Imagine the dice bounce off and fall over the second story of the big screen.
Could happen.
What a magical place that is, too.
Same dice. Circa, unbelievable. Yeah, no, that would. It's cool. I mean, So we interviewed Derek, right, in the past, and he's just such an interesting cat. But he basically said, I'm paraphrasing and probably screwing it up, but he goes, I built a place I want to hang out in. Like, he owns it. He's going to be there a lot because we own the casino. Like, you're just constantly there. He goes, so I built a place that I would want to go.
Yeah, I worked for Derek for 3.5 years. Yeah. So I wish that's book 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got a lot of the anthology coming. No, that's awesome.
That's fine. You know Matt Pineapples, right?
I very do.
So this is a fun Hard Rock story. I'm going to call him out right now.
Pines, let's hear it.
So we all went to play blackjack. I'm sitting first base. He's sitting to the left of me. And I think actually there was one other spot in the first base. So I was sitting the second spot. Matt was in the third. I'm playing like 25, 50 hand. Matt's playing 5, 10, right? He's winning every hand. He can't lose, this guy.
And how many beers was that?
We were deep in the beers.
Buckets, yeah.
And so I'm losing every single hand, right? Well, then the shuffle goes out. It ends. He gets up and he goes and sits in first base. I go, what are you doing? He's like, well, I just won a bunch there, so I figure I'm not going to win a bunch more. So I just
I've drained the luck out of that seat.
So you're going to take all my good hands now? We started screaming at each other in the middle of the Hard Rock floor. The pit boss comes over and is like, you guys got to calm down. I'm like, get this drunk guy out of here. He doesn't know how to play blackjack.
Over a completely superstitious belief.
And I'm like, you can't do that. He's like, I can do whatever I want. I'm like, that is so bad.
So you guys didn't play it out? You guys just had a fight and had to break up the table?
I was like the guy that lost $250,000. I went up to the bar and played 25-cent blackjack video poker.
I would have loved to know if he actually did take the hands or if you kept winning because were now in his position.
I was so mad. I said, how do you sell table games and you don't have the respect to know a very simple common courtesy?
The seat was open, pal. If you wanted it, you should have moved over.
So bad.
I don't know why. I know this is like, I don't know if I've ever said this in my life. I feel like I might be Team Pines on this one. The guy wants to move a seat. It's an open seat. You decide.
I'll remember that next time we're playing blackjack.
Okay. You just jump around.
Well, I won all the hands there, so now I don't feel like I'm going to win them there. I'm going to move over. Oh, thanks.
You know, I know it doesn't have any actual like basis in any sort of math, but I get what he's saying, right? Like, how many hands in a row can you win before your luck is over, right? Eventually,
suck the life right out.
That's it. Third shortstop or whatever you want to call that position is gone. We got to move.
I can't imagine that's a Matt story. Okay, yeah.
Fact check. Yeah, it's good. So we kind of did the gambling story already with Mr. I was going to say bomb strapped to it, but it's a money strapped to his chest.
Yeah.
What?
I still want to know Betty's gambling story. Do you have a personal gambling story? Where you went out and had fun?
I'm not a big gambler.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to, I like to watch gambling.
Sure.
And stuff. But my best story is the 2 times that I could have made a fortune. So I walk
I've said that so many times.
I walk into the Continental, which is now like the Sevens. Is that what it is? I don't know. It's been terrible. Sure. It was Terribles, then it was Sevens.
Oh yeah, Silver Sevens. Yeah.
So I walk in, and Continental had the filthiest layouts.
Yeah.
and that was their claim to fame.
Initial
filthy layouts and all you can eat pancakes.
Side of grind.
Yeah. So I go. I got a $5 bill in my pocket. I'm with my dad. And I said, let me just blow this on the line and get out of here, right? So I start this roll, and an hour and 25 minutes later, it's over.
Wow.
There's $5 on the flat. And I took away like $450.
Okay.
But can you imagine?
Big return.
Can you imagine if I had $500 in my pocket?
Yeah, you would have.
I would have probably won
45
Here we
grand.
go.
Yeah.
Simple math. Add 2 zeros.
Quick. Yeah.
So I do the exact same thing over at the Gold Coast. I got a $20 bill.
Yeah.
And I sit there, and the hand goes on for like an hour and 40 minutes. And when I remember it was like $5,700 I had on the layout when it sevened out.
Oh my God.
And took home a few thousand, but it was from a $20 bill.
Yeah, but see, I wonder, like, it sounds easy to say, well, if I was just betting 100 times more, right? But would you have, though? So, like, the thing for me is I don't want to say I get nervous, but I don't treat, like, chips just as chips. Like, I go, well, that's like $100, right? So I would bet looser at $5 than I would if they were all $100, right? Like, I don't know that I would have the same gunslinger spirit, maybe, so.
Well, my strategy is probably the same no matter what.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is that it's just like people with a slot machine. They get up off a slot machine after they've won for an hour and a half straight. That they could pay for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
And same thing with a game. Just because something just like Pineapple saying he sucked the luck out of the chair, that's
sucking luck.
I know better than that, and it could go on forever.
Yeah.
So as long as I don't take a big dive, I'm going to keep going.
Sure.
So it would have been ugly if I'd had any money. But both times I had that opportunity, I had nothing in my pocket.
Yeah.
Did you ever play a slot machine?
I do play a slot machine. Now recently.
Yeah.
I've gotten into these, you guys, you make a machine, a few other people make a machine that kind of give you an idea when they're about ready to pop. And so I'm one of them
That's what we want you to think.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them slot vulture type guys that tries to go around.
The pot is full.
Yeah. You never make no big money, but at least you have fun thinking you can.
Yeah. It's interesting. So since we came here, we took some of our table guys that are kind of like, well, I never really play slots. I'm like, well, let's go play some slots. We're trying to get slots, guys play tables. It's boom or bust for these guys. Some of the guys have played in and they're like, slots are amazing. We just won $500. And one guy was like, I lost everything. I have nothing. Like all the money you told me to take out. My wife is mad at me. So it's an interesting dial.
All right, I'm going to have this on the air, so you guys, you're going to have to pay me. But I've never seen a bonus game that's just like playing a hand of blackjack or roulette. You get in the middle and just call it the game casino, and it's a regular video reel. But then when you get to the bonus game, you're spinning the ball or you're playing a hand of blackjack.
Could be interesting.
For it all.
Yeah. Well, let's put it in the notes, buddy.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Suited blackjack gets you the big, 1,500 or, the maxi.
Yeah, the maxi. Yeah. We call that the grand, sir. Yeah, it's okay. No, that's good.
You know what I thought of that would be kind of innovative? That this is in Europe when we went to Europe, right?
So you thought about it or you saw it over there?
No, this is a pure cusp. And if someone takes it, congratulations. But they're only allowed 20 slot machines. But the table game play over there is massive, right? However, they can add as many ETGs as they want. So they don't classify ETGs as a slot machine. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't we do like a reverse engineering, almost like Class 2, where you make a slot machine based off the outcome of a card?
Like a roulette or something.
Like cards. Yeah. Like you get a royal flush and that's the top award. Or, you know what I mean? They could get a 5-card poker hand, and it would have enough combinations to make a slot outcome.
Yeah.
It's an ETG.
And like an HHR, you see a little bitty window. It's about this big, and then it shows the blackjack.
5-card hand.
The blackjack.
Just an RNG dealing a 5-card hand. Boom, 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 boom,
just
boom,
based on a regular poker deck. Yeah, you get royal.
Jacks are better. It's
boom,
like a small win. 3 of a kind. Anyway.
I like it.
Cool. We might have to delete this section.
Yeah, we might have to take this offline.
We've innovated too much. Oh, man. So, challenge. You now know, tons of people in the space. And who do you think we should come on and have a session like this with?
Well, you know what? You guys talk about everything gaming.
Yeah.
And there's only one guy that I know would fit the bill would be Michael Shackelford, the Wizard.
The Wizard.
Ooh, that would be.
He was there this morning, so I didn't. He was recording this morning at the conference.
Yeah.
He was doing this I don't know that you would call it magic. Mm-hmm. I think you kind of in summary would go it's magic, but he has this I don't know if it's a mentalist ability, but he was just so he had this marble, I don't know, 1-inch marble, and he would line 7 people up, and he would go, okay, take it behind your back, put it in one hand or the other. Show me your hands. Pull your hands out. And he would do some voodoo and bang. He was right every time. So I was sitting there watching going, yeah, okay. You must be doing something because statistically, it's basically a coin flip, right or left. But you're not going to get 7 in a row on just luck, right? So it was something. I would be interested to just simply ask that question. But yeah, the Wizard would be great. And he's here, I think, locally.
Yeah, he's here locally, and I think he'd really get into coming on. He's a trivia buff. He's a magic buff. He's a casino genius, mathematical genius. I don't think there's any question you can't ask him that he's not going to be very close on the answer.
Perfect.
We didn't get a fun fact from you on this.
Oh, a little fun fact.
You got one fun fact for us?
Fun fact, I used to be a harness race driver trainer. I used to have one.
Trained racing horses?
That's pretty
How do you
cool.
say that? I feel like I just said 4 words that didn't make sense.
Yeah. I
trained racehorses.
I won 4 titles in northeastern Ohio, and
Dang.
my main owner died of cancer, and I decided, heck, let me change the midlife crisis. I'll go to Vegas.
Deal some cards. Well, that's insane. We're going to have you back to break that whole thing open, but congrats on all the horse racing titles. Not as a jockey, though. Sure.
I won 12 races driving.
Really? They call it driving?
So in harness racing, size doesn't really matter. Weight doesn't matter, but height does. That's what killed me. I couldn't drive consistently.
Because you're too tall.
too tall.
Yeah.
I only drove when my main driver couldn't make it, or
Interesting.
I'm trying to figure a horse out.
Dang, I would have been a great.
Yeah, you're perfect size.
I blew it. I'm midlife crisis. We'll see you guys at the
driver.
track.
That's it. Yeah, Landon. If this doesn't work out.
Yeah, I'll be at the
just go.
Meadowlands next week.
Exactly. Get in the horse.
Benny, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
man. I appreciate this. This is fun.
Guys, been really, really a good time.
And for you listening, I know we talked about the top of the show. We're
Yeah.
talking about it again. Check Benny out. Be in the know on YouTube. Letter B, like your name,
Yeah.
in the know.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. Table games, fun content. So make sure you give him a follow.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Make sure you subscribe too.
So that's it. Like and subscribe. I always
And
forget.
hit this guy. Hit the little
Yeah,
bell.
hit the bell. All
Hit
right.
the bell for notifications.
Right on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, brother.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it.